Viewers, welcome back to the Personal Injury Law Show. Before the break, we're talking about the raging debate between the Australian Plastic Surgery Society and the cosmetic surgeons. Now, what is a cosmetic surgeon, Alice?
Tony, cosmetic surgery is defined as corrective procedure of which the primary objective is changing or improving the appearance of the patient. So really, cosmetic surgery is more about, if you'll excuse the generic definition, facelifts, things like breast augmentations, or things like improving your general appearance.
Liposuction.
Things like that. That's exactly right.
Making you look better.
Look, we were at Dr. Callis's rooms during the week, and like I said before, he was good enough to take us into his operating theatre, which is a sterile environment. In fact, he tried to get me to put on a gown, and fortunately the director held his ground. But you'll see in the video that the doctor was all done up in his surgical wear and hat and everything else. So can we quickly go and have a look at the video, and then we'll discuss what comes out of it.
We do a lot of breast surgery, such as breast enlargements and breast reductions. A lot of facial surgery, especially nose surgery, which is known as rhinoplasty, and eyelid surgery, for example, and surgery to correct the aging process, such as facelift surgery. And also there's surgery all around the body, for example, on the tummy, tummy tuck operations, and liposuction in virtually any part of the body.
And doctor, these are surgeries.
Yes, the thing about plastic surgery is they are all real operations, and so they all carry real risks. And it's very important that prospective patients understand that when they're embarking on a plastic surgery operation, that they're taking on a certain amount of risk. And what they should be thinking about is risk management. How can they best reduce the risk and at the same time assure a successful outcome? And one of the problems we have in Australia is that there are so many patients now who choose to sacrifice safety by having operations done in substandard facilities, in other words, day surgery centres that haven't been accredited and haven't been registered, and performed by doctors who haven't been properly certified in plastic surgery.
Doctor, this looks like a well-equipped and sterile environment. What would it cost to set up a surgery like this?
Well, I've heard that the cost of building a day surgery these days is about $1 million, but of course it will depend on how many operating theatres you have. But it's not just the initial setup cost, it's the staffing cost and the ongoing maintenance. Because to operate as a day surgery in Australia, we really have to meet all the standards of a private hospital, which means we have to be accredited by one of the organisations that accredits hospitals.
Dr. Callis, can you tell us a bit about the day surgery procedures?
These days, many procedures are being performed as day cases, that is with a patient going home the same day, rather than as an overnight stay or several overnight stays. What initially drove this was the cost saving. It was obviously less expensive to be in hospital only for one day and not stay overnight. But what we realised with time was that we could actually do these procedures more safely than in a hospital.
Doctor, is there a fallacy or misconception in the public where they believe that it's cheaper to have surgery by a so-called cosmetic surgeon as opposed to a plastic surgeon, or to travel overseas?
Well, there could be a misconception. I think in Australia that most cosmetic surgeons really go into cosmetic surgery to make money. And I think they charge fees very often as much or higher than plastic surgeons, who've usually gone into surgery because of their interest in reconstructive surgery. So if anyone thinks that by going to see an unqualified cosmetic surgeon, that they in some way are going to save money compared to seeing a qualified plastic surgeon, well, they are probably wrong.
Let's see, what did you think of the discussion we had with Dr. Callis?
Well, first I would have loved to see you in the robes, Tony, but that's for a discussion another time. But
I was very fortunate that I had the director that saved me because he was insisting I had to wear the gown. He was all done up in his operating gear.
Now, look, I think it was a great, I suppose, insight for the viewers and also ourselves about what really happens in surgery. And I think it's again highlighted the big divide between plastic surgery and cosmetic surgery, and the big risk and the fact that they're going overseas to get surgery done because it's cheaper.
Well, just on that, Alice, he's saying that the surgery is necessary. It's not appearance surgery.
That's
as the
right.
cosmetic surgeons are saying.
Look, it's a really touchy area, Tony, and he raised a lot of issues, particularly with what Nunzio was saying about travelling. But equally, he raised a really good point in the video, saying that plastic surgery is more about looking normal rather than standing out. And a lot of people have plastic surgery for medical reasons, such as repairing scars, revising scars after traumatic injuries. Quite often you can get
Well,
plastic surgery.
liposuction to try and make yourself look good.
Exactly. It's about looking normal as opposed to standing out and being the model in the crowd.
So it's self-esteem, people that are anxious, people that are depressed. So that's what he's saying. But the cosmetic surgeons, on the other hand, are saying that it's for people that are vain. They're trying to look good.
That's right.
Well, look, it's a $1 billion market now, so it's becoming, as I said, a big money spender, and that's why it's also going abroad.
That's right, and the fact of the matter is Medicare doesn't cover a lot of these procedures unless you can show you have a genuine medical reason for having it. And so if you're talking about a facelift or a breast augmentation or a tummy tuck, Medicare's not going to cover that. You have to fork out thousands of dollars to pay for those procedures.
Well, Alice, if someone wants to lose weight and they're struggling and they have a tummy tuck,
Yes.
there's a bigger issue there. If you don't lose the weight and they're depressed and they keep putting on weight, there's diabetes,
That's right.
there's cholesterol and other issues,
And physical ailments because you've got the
heart
bigger weight,
conditions.
That's right.
And as a whole, society's worse off because Medicare will be paying for that.
Well, that's where we could go on for hours about his argument, but one thing that I think the video shows from Dr. Callis is about these surgery rooms and the facilities. I don't think I would know about who's qualified, who's accredited. It opens up a range of, I suppose, issues there, Tony.
Well, the thing that's important is the aftercare after surgery, Alice, because it's a sterile environment, but you've got to be careful of infections.
That's exactly right, Tony. And Mr. Kalis raised a very good point by saying that a lot of surgeons do try and have their own rooms or a day surgery because the risks are less. You're not in a hospital where other people have different illnesses and that you can pick up. Not to mention the fact that it is a very infection sort of risk high environment. So at the end of the day, they are very concerned about the aftercare because it's only a day procedure and you can be back at home that night, but you don't know if your care is complete.
Well, so one of the main problems in the public hospital system is golden staff.
Yep.
And he was talking about accredited facilities where they're sterile and clean.
Yep. Again, well, it just highlights the importance for, especially, I suppose, anyone who wants to undertake these surgeries to make sure you're going to a facility that's clean, sterile and accredited, because it's so easy to contract golden staph and it's hard to prove exactly where it comes from. So, especially for these, I suppose, people that want to go overseas to have their surgeries, geez, I think it's dangerous, Tony.
And Alice, you saw the environment in that video. It was sterile, it was clean, and it cost me over $1 million to set up.
That's right. They put a lot of effort into it, Tony, and it really is important that they keep it as sterile as possible to keep that risk of infection down.
Viewers, thanks for watching. We're going to do a part 2 next week, but we're going to a sponsors break and we'll be back with the mailbag. Thank you.